Okay, so I wanted to go over how to use this sheet, this Google sheet. And this is both for those of you who are upline, just wrapping your head around how simple this can be, and those of you who are getting added to your upline's marketing rotator, so you understand how to report the information on here. Now, I covered aspects of this in a previous video in this section, but I'm going to get more detailed. There's been a few little additions to the document that are specific to you. The previous video that I did was kind of an overview of the concept and how I was applying it towards a group that was in the first rotator, which was a little bit different. It's pretty much the same, but it was a little bit different. And basically, we're updating this all the time. Like, so for example, here in column D, it says confirmed last task. That wasn't on the previous one. So I just wanted to go over this whole thing so you understand how to report it, and if you're an upline, adding people and managing people in your marketing rotator, how they should be reporting this and how you should be using this as well. Okay, so I also want to talk about who gets added into your marketing rotator, and this is for those of you getting added as well, so you understand how it all works. Again, the previous videos were more of a big overview, and this is really specific to using this sheet. In the last video you just watched, if you're an upline, it showed you how to set up a Google Sheet like this, which would be important. If you've got over 100 people on auto order underneath you, then it's time to start setting up your own Google Sheet like this, because that would mean that you're going to start to have people underneath you who have 100 people on auto order underneath them. And so now you're starting to move into a leadership role. And so again, once you start having 100 people on auto order underneath you, you're going to watch that last video that Robin did that shows you how to set up your own Google Sheet, because you're going to start adding people from your downline into your marketing rotator. In the upcoming videos in this section, I'll be showing you how to use the marketing rotator. And of course, we'll talk more in this section about how you start driving marketing and advertising, depending on what level you're at. It's different if you're in level 1 versus level 2, but how you start contributing to the growth of your downline's second leg who are in your marketing rotator. Okay, let's begin. Let's get back to the focus of this one. Let's run through this. So in the column A, obviously, that's the name of the people in the marketing rotator. So if you're the upline managing this Google Sheet, you're going to be adding those people in here once you've confirmed that they have 100 people on auto order underneath you. Before I continue on, let's talk about who you would add and what that might look like. If we're looking at my genealogy here, let's say let's talk about Adam James. Adam James, I know, has over 100 people on auto order, and so he would be somebody that I would add to my sheet. So actually, these were just fictitious names here. I'll go ahead and put Adam James here. And then you see that he has someone underneath him named Symbiote Oyewaga. If I pronounced that wrong, I apologize. I think I got that close with my English version of it anyway. If Symbiote has over 100 people on auto order, which he doesn't at this time, but if so, then I would also help him out here, because he needs to have 10 people, 10 upline who are adding him to their marketing rotator, and above Adam is me, and so it's important that we do that. Now, I want to also mention that there's nobody above me doing this strategy. I'm kicking this whole thing off. So in his case, he wouldn't have 10. Almost all of you would, but those of you that are really close to me in the organization won't have 10, because there's only me, in this case, Adam. But my point is, most of you down there will. And my point is, if you have somebody below you, you're going to want to help out the people at the beginning of their second leg. Now, as this leg grows, as that goes deeper, there's going to be 10 upline to take the brunt of that. But again, if it's at the top of Adam's leg and these first few people, I'm going to want to add those people to give them an extra boost. Now, other people that you would add to your rotate, it makes sense, right? Like, you're the upline here, like this is you, let's say, where I'm at the top. And if Adam's bringing people in, and they, and there isn't 10 upline adding them to the rotator, you're going to want to help out because you're the next one up there. And even if you have a lot of people in your rotator, you're going to want to do that if that's the situation. so that you can help them. Now, typically, if you're in that situation, you're going to have more money to work with. So we're all devoting 10% of our Hempworx incomes to the rotator. And so the more you're doing that kind of stuff, the more money you have to work with to feed your rotator. Again, as we get down further away from me, this is less and less of an issue because there's going to be lots of people to add them to their rotator. I'm at the top of this thing, so it's a little bit different. But you are going to run into these situations, and it should just make sense. As an upline, you want to help make sure that people have 10 people that they've been added to for the rotators if they qualify to be added to a rotator. You want to help out. You want to add them to the rotator. This should just make sense. Then underneath Adam, here's Chris. I would add Chris Cunningham also to my rotator. I would add James Lockett down here to my rotator. James would also be added to Chris's marketing rotator, Adam's marketing rotator, etc. So as an upline, as your organization is growing, you have over 100 people on auto order underneath you, you start to have people underneath you who also have 100 people on auto order who've been meeting all of their commitments. You're going to want to make sure they get added to 10 Upline's marketing rotators. And if there's not enough upline to help out, you come in and you help out. That's how it works. So that's who you add into your marketing rotator. Okay, over here. Now, active in rotate. By the way, in the next video, we're going to talk about how you get added. I just want you guys to understand what's going on and how to read this sheet and how to keep this sheet updated. And then in the next video, we're going to talk about how you actually what to do to get added to your Upline's marketing rotator. And if you're an upline, how to get people in and on board into your rotator. We'll also have, as I said earlier, a video on how to use the marketing rotator if you don't know how. And of course, how to drive traffic into the rotator. That's all going to be in this section after this video. So continuing on with the theme of this video, which is really just helping you understand how to use each of these sections, active and in rotation. So this is either going to say yes or no. Like I would just put Y or in, and if it's yes, if it's a Y, if it's yes, it means they're in my marketing rotator, which again, we'll show you in the next videos how to do that, how to take them out of rotation or put them back in rotation, how to use that marketing rotator. But here it's just indicating, are they in rotation or maybe not? If they haven't been active, if they haven't been fulfilling their commitments, it might be no. This column, level 1, level 2, level 3, is telling you, which level of commitment are they at? Adam, I know, is level 3. In fact, I might just go 3, 1. Let's just, I don't know. These are fictitious people at the bottom. So you're just indicating which level of commitment are they at. So we can take a quick look at this and see. And that's for several reasons. It gives you an immediate idea where someone's at in terms of their ability to drive marketing. If someone's at a level 1, they're going to be growing much slower and using different strategies than if they're at level 2 or level 3. So it's good to get a quick look and know that right away when you're looking at the sheet. But it's also important because when you're adding people to rotators, when you're the upline, kind of making sure that people are getting added to 10 different uplines marketing rotators, it won't always be the case, but more, you want to try to make it where if somebody's at level 1, they're getting added to level 1 marketing rotators. If somebody's at level 2, they're getting added to level 2 marketing rotators, because then it's fair. If someone's at level 3, they're getting added to level 3 marketing rotators. And again, if you're at level 1, don't be upset about that. It just makes sense. And remember, because of the nature of spillover, everyone in the team is benefiting as upline are growing faster and faster. So it's not like you're not benefiting from the growth, even if you're not in a particular rotator. It's really important to understand that because everything's flowing on down. I mentioned before in a previous video, when I bring somebody in, that person goes under hundreds and hundreds of people, and Adam, same thing, and so forth. So really keep that in perspective. Everyone wins big as this thing grows, so you're not really losing out. Obviously, there's huge advantages to being the enroller, which you get to be when you're getting traffic from the rotator as opposed to regular spillover. But keep in mind that if you're starting at level 1, it's most fair that you would be in level 1 marketing rotators. And of course, that's going to be growing much slower. You have the opportunity to upgrade when you start to have the income. You have the opportunity to work a little bit harder to make it grow faster. And you are getting spillover from Upline as well that isn't necessarily coming through the rotator. So keep that in mind. But again, we want to keep track of who's level 1, level 2, level 3, because not only do we want to get a snapshot of that really quick to kind of ascertain where someone's at in terms of their ability to market quickly or slowly, et cetera. But as I just said, if someone is at level 1, they should be going into a level 1 marketing rotator. If they're at level 2, they should be going into level 2, 10 different uplines who are level 2 marketing rotators, and level 3 get matched up with level 3. It's not always going to be the case. So listen carefully. If somebody is at level 1 and there aren't 10 different upline rotators above, listen carefully to this, so important. If somebody is at level 1 and there aren't enough level 1s above them, and everyone's a level 2 or level 3, then put them into a level 2 or level 3 marketing rotator. It's just, if there are plenty of level 1s with room in their marketing rotator, that's where the level 1 will go first. If there's not, then they go to level 2 and level 3, and that's going to happen. The other thing too is, if you have a level 1 who's really busting their tail and they're like making YouTube videos and they're going into their, all of our upline groups and finding things that they can post on Facebook. Like, they're really active and they're maximizing what they can do with level 1. Then that might be somebody that you just decide to find them a home in a level 2 or level 3 because they're so active. So that would be something you can do as well. Okay, but for the different reasons I discussed, you do want to know if they're level 1, level 2, or level 3. Column D. And by the way, who fills this out? Some of these things the upline's filling out, and or at least confirming. And some of these things the participants are filling out. And I would recommend, if you're the upline managing this, that you have your own internal records for the most important things. Like, for example, if somebody accidentally, edited this, if one of your downline edited this, that could confuse you if this was the only way you were tracking. So you might want to have your own internal tracking and notes of why maybe somebody was removed from rotation. Then you would update it here, just in case they accidentally changed it or deleted it or whatever. Okay, so confirmed last task. Sometimes, and this will become more and more clear if you're managing one of these for your downline, it'll become more and more clear what this is, but I'll just introduce it to you. There'll be tasks that you give your downline to know that they're paying attention. You don't want somebody in your rotator who's not paying attention. And maybe it's a legitimate reason. Maybe, something really challenging went on in their life in the last week and they're not paying attention. But you might have, I might have shared a video and told you to share that with your teams and to make sure, have them confirm that they watched it. It might have been an update, whatever. And we're not going to make it ridiculous at all and massively time consuming, but we want to check in and make sure that people that are getting traffic sent to their second leg from your hard work and efforts is being received. And because if somebody's getting leads in their second leg, but they're not paying attention and they're not following up with those pre-enrollees, then it's wasted. That you would rather have that traffic fall into the other people in your marketing rotation. And so we'll be giving tasks for, like, watch this video, attend this event, confirm that you read this email, whatever it is. And if they didn't confirm that with you, then, you would put no, and you would take them out of rotation. And then later, like a couple weeks later, they might come around and go, why am I not on rotation? And maybe you forgot because you're busy, and you'd go, oh, it looks like you didn't confirm the last task. And so if you want to get added back, you need to go confirm that you read that email, and we can get you back in, that kind of thing. And you can create your own tasks as well. You want to make sure that the people that are receiving your leads from your efforts are paying attention, or they're just going to waste those leads. They're not going to follow up with them. But they can get back in rotation when they start paying attention again. Auto order. Are they on auto order? Yes or no? That would be a Y or an N, right? And if they're not on auto order, then, and you got to check that every once in a while. And again, we'll have another video in this section to show you how to do that in case you don't know how to do that, but you check that every once in a while. And if they're not on auto order, you need to take them out of rotation. and take them out of your marketing rotator, which I'll show you how to do in another video. This is tracking what's going on. There'll be other steps that you would take. If you saw that somebody wasn't on auto order, you'd put no, and then you'd say they're not in rotation anymore, they're not active anymore, you'd put no, and then you'd log into your rotator in your MyDailyChoice back office, and you would take them out of rotation, which again, I will show you how to do in another video. I'm gonna go ahead and put this back to yes, because I know Adam James is on auto order. MLGS pre-enrollees. So this is saying, how many pre-enrollees have you gotten from the MLGS leads? Now in the future, we might change this lead source. For right now, that's the best lead source we found that's almost free and extremely easy for people to plug into. It's a training wheels process, but we want everyone to continue doing it to demonstrate and to see duplication with a really simple strategy that everyone can plug into. Now that might change in the future. Right now, it's the MLGS leads. How many pre-enrollees have they gotten in total from the beginning of time? That's what that's all about. Times emailed in the last week. This is something that, and by the way, these are things obviously that Adam James would keep updated. And if you see that somebody isn't updating these things, then that's not someone who's active. You would take them out of rotation until you have a conversation with them. And again, if someone's keeps dropping the ball, that's someone you might say, you know what? I'll add you next month. Otherwise it becomes too time consuming. People need to be accountable. We can't nurture bad habits. We got to reward good habits. Again, this is all about sorting for those that are ready to do the basic, simple stuff to create freedom money in a big way, duplicating that on down. It's very, very important. Times emailed in last week. Again, this is something that the downline would report if they want to stay in rotation. You want to know how many times, not how many emails they sent to the MLGS leads. How many times did they send an email this week? Did they send an email out to the MLGS leads 3 times this week? Maybe 5 times this week? Did they do it 7 times this week? And we're talking about from the MLGS platform itself, not sending emails to those leads from outside the platform. We're really starting to lean towards encouraging people just to send those leads from the MLGS platform itself, unless you want to do some testing outside of it, but it's not something that we're recommending everybody does unless they're wanting to do that on their own and to figure stuff out and see what deliverability and results might be. But when we talk in the context of tracking all this, we're talking within the context of emailing from the MLGS platform itself. How many times did you do that this week? 1 day, 7 days, and it really should be at least 3 days a week, or you're not active and should be pulled out of rotation. Number of upline rotators that you're in. So you might be just getting started and you're only added in 1 upline rotator. This would say 1. If you've been added to 5 upline rotators, this would say 5. If you've been added to 10, of course 10, and it shouldn't be more than 10. A person shouldn't be added to more than 10 different upline rotators. But if it was 3, and again, that's something that Adam James would update, because only he would really know how many he's in. And if I was the upline managing this and I saw he only had 3, I'm going to know that, I need to come in and help Adam get added to more upline marketing rotators till we get it to 10, which can take a little time, right? It's a little bit of a process there, but we'd be able to see that needs to happen. And as the upline, you want to do that as soon as you could. But as the downline, give people time to do this. We don't want to create like an administrative managerial nightmare here. This needs to be a process that works within the upline's time frame within a reasonable period of time, which would be like a week or 2. Give people a little air to breathe as they're getting you added to upline's marketing rotators. They're reaching out to different people, finding out how many they already have in there. Give them a little time. Don't get anxious on them. Uplines and hits. So this last one we're talking about is the number of upline rotators they're in. Again, you can be in as many as 10. Uplines and hits. So this is, I talked about this before. I just want to be really, really specific. This, again, is you listing out the names of the marketing rotator uplines, the uplines that you're in. Like maybe you're in an uplines rotator called Scott. And I do recommend one name. It could be like Scott B. If his last name's like, starts with a B. we just want to have a way to indicate it. And I would suggest that whatever you use here is the same thing that's in the source code. The source code we'll talk about in another video is how you track your results. And just showing you that real quick so you understand my language. If I go to tools and I go to advertising, it shows in here the source code. And so your upline's name, like let's say it's Scott B, would be here, and it would show how many hits you're getting. You'd want to use the same identifier, and we'll talk about that again in another video, but just so you kind of understood what I was talking about. So you put Scott B, which is your upline rotator you're in, you put a dash, and you'd say, okay, I got 90 hits from Scott B so far. Then you put a comma, and you'd put maybe the next upline rotator you're in, maybe his name is Frank, his last name is maybe, starts with a J, so you'd say Frank J dash, and so you've gotten 120 hits from him so far, which again, from here, and we'll talk about that in another video. So you're just listing that out, and I mentioned this in another video, then always put a parenthesis in the last time you updated this. So if I'm updating it on March 28th, I put 328 so that we know when it was last updated, okay? Then you hit return. And so you might have up to 10 different uplines, rotators listed here with the number of hits that you got, so that we can keep track of that. And by the way, always put the date. I didn't mention this. Always put the date after you update this. So if you just updated that you're in 3 different upline rotators, you'd put parentheses 328 the last time that you updated that, okay? I would do that with all of them, even auto order. So you saw the last time you checked. And again, this would be more what the upline is updating here, but it would look like this. And again, I know someone might, like in this case, Adam might come in and change this, and that's why I suggest that Upline have their own internal tracking. And this is really one that you're working with your downline, but because what if Adam comes in here and he changes this, maybe not trying to do any harm or anything, but just making a mistake or whatever, or deleting it by mistake. You want to be able to track this somewhere else on your own internal. So you might want to duplicate this sheet or keep track of it however you want to. So you're keeping track of this information as the upline elsewhere where they're not able to edit it. This is the community one between you and your team to keep track of all this stuff. Uplines and hits. So again, you'd be listing out Scott B dash, and I already did that one. Let's go to other L1 hits. So what I actually want here, I want another column here that says uplines and pre-enrollees. If you don't see that, we're still working on this. I don't know what information we really need. I don't want to make it overwhelming, so I'm going to leave that off for now, but I'm thinking about adding that column. And if you see that, don't be surprised, where we're also tracking how many pre-enrollees have you gotten from an upline. If you see that after the date of this being created, I think you'll know what to do. Basically the same thing, just tracking pre-enrollees. Other L1 hits. So this is for, in this case, Adam James to track, the downline to track, where Adam is letting us know what other hits has he gotten from level 1 strategies. Level 1 strategies are things like YouTube, whether you're posting my videos or your own, or the company's, whether you're putting your own intro on it or not. It's all level 1 strategy stuff. You might be posting stuff on Facebook. You might be using the MDC app that lets you load stuff to social media and get leads that way. Like there's lots of different things you can be doing that are level 1, like basically free stuff, or all really inexpensive L1 strategies, level 1 strategies. We want to know how many total hits you've gotten. MLGS is considered level 1, but we're going to keep that separate because that's like the base bare minimum somebody should be doing. But if you're only in level 1, you should also be doing other level 1 stuff. We want to know how many hits you've gotten. And we want to know, because if you're not paying attention to this stuff, guys, you're not active. You shouldn't be getting free pre-enrollees in your second leg. You're not doing enough to justify, like, you're just not going to be successful if you're not paying attention to this stuff. And it's really simple to do. It just means you're just out of it, right? Which can happen with people, like whatever reason, their just mind's not there. They're watching Netflix all day. Whatever might be going on in their life that's led them to losing focus. I'm not going to take the position that, you know, that's their choice. That's how I take it. But we're not going to be giving them pre-enrollees. That's all I want to say. You should be making sure that you're only giving pre-enrollees into the second leg of people that are following this stuff and filling this stuff out. Other level 1 pre-enrollees, so same thing. Not only, we don't just want to know how many hits they got, but we do want to know how many pre-enrollees they've got. Level 2 hits. If they're in level 2, then how many hits are they generating from all their level 2 strategies? And this one, how many hits, I mean, how many pre-enrollees have they gotten from all their level 2 strategies? You know, one of the things this does, like if you're watching this right now and you're fairly new and like you're still like all of this is fuzzy to you, that's okay. It's because you're not there yet. You're probably not doing level 2 strategies. When you are, it will become more clear. This gives you guidance. And this is something we just continue to reinforce with you until you get it. And when you do get it, now you're thinking and acting like a leader who makes a lot of money. And it's not that hard. But I don't expect you just, when I cover this like once or twice, that you immediately understand it all if you're still fairly new. Other hits. Other hits is other stuff that might be going on. What else is going on that you're using to drive traffic that really isn't level 1, really isn't level 2, but we want to account for it? Maybe you see some stuff happening, but you don't know where it's coming from. We just want to make sure it gets registered here, and same with pre-enrollees. And then over here at the end, describe your marketing methods. Describe, and I covered this in a previous video, describe all the different ways that you're marketing and be specific. We want to know that you're paying attention and that you're doing stuff. Be sure to update it as well. So this pretty much sums up how to use this, how to, you know, as an upline, what you're looking for, and as a downline, how to make sure you're reporting to this. Because if you're not reporting to this, then you're not active. You get taken out of the Upline's marketing rotator, okay? So again, the last video, Robin showed you as an upline how to set up a Google Sheet like this. In the next videos, we're going to talk about all kinds of things. One of them, how to use the marketing rotator, how to add people to your marketing rotator, more about the advertising, if you're at level 1 or level 2 or level 3, like how will you be driving traffic into the marketing rotator to help your team's second legs build. All of that stuff we're going to cover in the next video, so I'll see you in the next video.